Ford built 15 million Model T Fords. So from 1908 until 27, a huge number of cars that was a Model T Ford. And that was a 20 horsepower power plant, and everybody wanted more horsepower. So basically, as I see history, I didn't live through that period of time because I was born in 29 after they stopped building the Model T. But as I see history, I think that Henry Ford's simplistic Model T, which was built for economics to be the cheapest car and the most mass-produced car at that point in time on the planet, it could be improved in so many ways. And the auto accessory business, as it became known, and the speed business, as it became known, actually was derived out of the simplicity of the Model T Ford. The speed business, when I started in 1952, was very fledgling. Few suppliers, most of them on the West Coast. Most of them could not supply their local demand. So they were reluctant to sell outside of the California part of the country. And a lot of the names, the Howard Cams and the Edelbrock and the Offenhauser brand names, there just wasn't a network of where you could be a dealer or a warehouse distributor for merchandise that people were wanting in the early 50s. I graduated from Nebraska Wesleyan with a degree in teaching. I had been racing and making $3,000 or $4,000 a year racing cars during the summer, and the first job that I had offered to teach paid $2,750 a year. So I opted to take what I liked to do and start a speed shop. It was in a very small building and close to the center of Lincoln. Lincoln is the capital of Nebraska. Very few customers that were involved in any type of racing, a little bit of street drag racing in the evenings. Some strips started to appear. They ran at the air bases that were created during the war. Lincoln had a big air base. It was surrounded by other air bases to protect Offutt, which was in Omaha. That was the Strategic Air Command was there. So it was real tough. Borrowed $300 from my wife, who I married the same year I started my speed shop, same year I graduated from college, all in 1952. It was an exciting time. Every day was almost like Christmas. You would get a new product in that you had talked somebody into selling you and that you could make a little bit of a margin on. And I couldn't buy large quantities. 2 was probably a big quantity for my buy-in. I would take one out of a box and put it in a showcase that I had in my 400-foot square. I called it a pop stand, but it was a speed shop. And I'd take the box and put it on the shelf so it looked like I had a lot of inventory. But we did things that people weren't able to do, that were the enthusiast. If they were racing a flathead, that motor needed to have the intake ports smoothed and polished out. They needed to have the block relieved. We were racing flathead Fords and got very good at making the engines run well, staying together, not having any failures, choosing the right camshaft, choosing how to make the distributor work properly, how to make the carburetor work properly, keeping all of the suspension on the car. And you did that by mostly hands-on. You learned it by doing. I, as a young man, when I was building my 40 Ford during my college days, that was what I romanced my wife in, was a 40 Ford Standard Coupe. And I wanted the sound of Smitty mufflers on my car. I'd put a dual exhaust, split the head pipe and put dual exhaust on that 40 Ford Flathead. And I drove clear to Colorado to Denver to get 2 Smitty mufflers. I don't think people do that anymore. The racing scene at that time was, you know, I always related myself to the old country doctor. You know, when I went to the doctor as a kid, if I had a sore toe, he fixed the toe. If I had a sore nose, he fixed the nose. Today, I go to my doctor, and if I have a sore nose, he sends me to the nose specialist. If I have a sore toe, he sends me to the toe specialist. So at that point in time, the speed shop, I had guys racing sports cars, drag racing, circle track racing, motorcycle racing, just anything that had wheels on it, somebody was doing some sort of racing with it. So I was talking to a big percentage of people that were doing, you had to have a little knowledge about everything.